Gather round, children, gather round. It's story time with Just the Little Writer. In case you didn't know, that's me, Jellybeans. Hey, Mom, Alvin yelled out the back door. The carnival is open. Can we go? After receiving the reply that he had hoped for, Alvin ran through the house to his friends, waiting at the front door. Patrick, Marty, and Dave were standing on the porch with Alvin's dog, Fizzy. She said yes, Alvin exclaimed as he jumped off the porch and landed in the grass. The foursome and Fizzy walked down the street to the traveling carnival that had stopped in town. It was Saturday afternoon, and many people were already there. Parents stood around and chatted while their kids were enjoying the rides or playing games. Jellybeans, Marty said when their group passed by a giant candy dispenser. Dave squinted through his glasses. Jelly beans? Not bubblegum? Who puts jelly beans in a bubblegum machine? I do, said a raspy voice from behind them. Fizzy growled and barked at the old man who claimed to own the machine. Quiet, Fizz, Alvin said and gave the dog's collar a tug. The old man smiled at the dog and Fizzy whimpered. Alvin and his friends didn't seem to notice. Patrick checked all over the machine looking for a price sticker. There's no price on here, he said. The old man patted Patrick on the shoulder. The first handful is free. If you really want more, I'll come up with a price then. Alvin raised his eyebrow at Dave and Marty. They looked at each other and shrugged. They each took a turn dispensing a handful of jelly beans. The old man handed each of them a tiny paper bag for their candy and walked away without another word. Fizzy growled. The foursome enjoyed the carnival before heading back to Alvin's house. They sat on the porch and dared each other to try a jelly bean. You think something is wrong with them? Marty said. Patrick frowned at the green one in his hand. It should be sour apple, lime, or watermelon. He tossed the green jelly bean into his mouth and reported, Tastes like apple. I was right. Dave ate a blue one, raspberry. Marty tried a red, cherry. Alvin reached into his bag and plucked a black jelly bean out. Gross, I hate the black ones, he said and tossed it to Fizzy. Dave gasped. You aren't supposed to give dogs candy. They could get sick and die. The others laughed and the front door opened. It was Alvin's father. Boys, your parents want you all home now. Say goodbye for now. After his friends left, Alvin took Fizzy to the backyard and tied him to his post. He went inside and washed up for dinner. I hope you didn't ruin your appetite with candy, his mother said, and sat his plate on the table. Alvin dug into his food and proved that his appetite was still intact. Before dinner was over, the phone rang. It was Dave's mother. Alvin's father returned to the table and frowned at Alvin. What have you boys been up to? Mrs. Palmer just called and said Dave is sick. Alvin said, We went to the carnival. We got some jelly beans. I didn't eat mine yet. 2 more phone calls and Mr. Emerson was growing very suspicious of his son. Dave was cold as ice and not responding to anyone. Patrick started vomiting as soon as he got home and hadn't stopped. Marty was bleeding from his nose, his mouth, and his eyes. They were all in the hospital. The doctor had no explanation. I gave one to Fizzy, Alvin said. Mr. Emerson grabbed Alvin by the ear and dragged him out to the backyard. Mrs. Emerson followed behind, assuring her husband that Alvin had done nothing wrong. Mrs. Emerson screamed when she saw Fizzy. There was nothing left of him but a skeleton. Alvin ran to the front of the house and saw the old man standing on the corner, smiling at him.